Once upon a time, a man named David turned to his Rav for help. David was upset because he had spoken lashon hara about someone in the community, a man named Chaim, and he wanted to know what he could do to make things right. The Rav said, "There is something you can do, but you must follow my instructions very carefully. I want you to take a plump pillow filled with fine goose-down feathers. Take this pillow to the top of the hill at the edge of our village, cut it open, and shake out all the feathers into the wind. Then come back and see me exactly 1 week later." David was delighted. "This is easy," he thought to himself. "I empty a pillow of its feathers, and my tshuva is complete." With a smile on his face and joy in his heart, David did exactly as his Rav had instructed him, letting the feathers blow in every direction. And indeed, a week later, David returned to the Rav to give him a full report. He was convinced that he had done proper tshuva. "I cut open the pillow as you instructed me, and I emptied its contents to the 4 winds. Have I done my tshuva? Am I forgiven?" "Well, there is still one more thing you need to do," the Rav replied. "You must now go back to the top of the hill, gather up all the feathers that you emptied from your pillow, and bring them back to me." David felt very discouraged. This was an impossible mission. How could he ever find those thousands of feathers which had been carried away by the winds? But when a Rav tells you to do something, you must listen. And so David went back to the hilltop and looked high and low, far and wide, and realized there were no feathers to be found. But just as he was about to give up, he noticed one tiny feather stuck to a bush. Very carefully, he picked up the feather, cupped it in his hand, and hugged it close to his ear. Suddenly, he heard a voice coming from the feather. "It's about Chaim," the feather said. "You know which Chaim. He can't be trusted. Don't ask me how I know. I just know." Those were the words of lashon hara he had spoken. David was shocked. He opened his hand, and the feather was picked up by a breeze and carried away. From a distance, David saw how the feather danced about, first landing on one person's shoulder, then on another's. And each time, David heard, "David says Chaim can't be trusted under any circumstances. Did you know that Chaim is mamish a thief? I hear he stole from the shul's pushka. I hear that Chaim would steal his own mother's last penny." This is the power of lashon hara. Once you let it out of your mouth, it acquires a life of its own, a life that is really death. Because lashon hara kills. It kills reputations, ruins good names, destroys families, wrecks marriages. There's no end, and there's no way to undo the damage. Back in the old days, a piece of lashon hara could only be communicated to one person at a time, and the lashon hara rarely traveled beyond the boundaries of one's own community. How times have changed. Internet gossip is to a bag of feathers what the atomic bomb is to gunpowder. Its power to destroy is limitless. It can destroy someone's reputation with just a few keystrokes. With internet gossip, you kill the souls of the people to whom you pass on the gossip, because they believe you, and they pass the poison on to others, who then pass it on to even more people. In your town, in your state, in your country, across the entire world. Because today there are no boundaries. And when something goes viral, it becomes a virus that infects our lives, our homes, and our communities. As of now, there is no known cure for the virus of internet lashon hara. None.